If it gets too hot, stop making me go.
Or if you need to pull your check.
Not a problem. Ding back in.
She always made a point of pointing out that she takes her shoes off.
Oh, I can't remember. That's going back. I know what you mean.
Yes? Can we help you? Why have you all gone quiet? What's the matter? Yes, it's wonderful. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to this, your church, Paul Christian Spiritualist Church. Big warm welcome to our friends joining us online wherever you are in the world. Great delight to welcome such a wonderful, accomplished medium to our platform. Unfortunately, they cancelled last night, so Marcus... We've got... You'll get me for this afterwards, you do know this. That won't go unpunished. Wonderful, Mark Stowe. Mark, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure.
Just a quick reminder during the service, if you could have your phones off, please, that would be greatly appreciated. We've got one or two new faces again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We don't bite unless you ask nicely. If you have questions, please ask them after the service. This is how we learn and how we grow. But in the meantime, we're going to hand over this service now. We're going to dedicate that through the opening prayer delivered by Mark.
Lovely.
Thank you, sir.
So everybody, if we could just for a moment close our eyes, but open our hearts and minds in prayer. Gracious and divine Spirit, as we join together on this morning, allow us to step aside from the hectic nature of everyday life and enter into the peace, the stillness, the healing, and the power of love that is present in this moment. Allow us just to be, to find stillness, to find a oneness with our inner being, with our inner spirit. Allow us in these moments of sitting together to blend not only with each other, but to blend with those friends and loved ones who join us through those bonds of love. And also let us blend with those who work with us and that divine power, that great and infinite spirit that we call Father, Mother, God, that has that unlimited source of love and care and healing. And as we sit in this morning's service and at this time, allow us to be a channel of love and healing in this world. Allow us to shine that light out throughout the whole of this world to every single person without exception. For everyone that walks upon this world is in need of love, is in need of healing in some way, shape or form. And so allow us to be those channels and those instruments for the other world. And so, as always, we place ourselves and our service in your care and keeping, knowing that all that is said and done is said and done in the truth, the love, and the light of Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. That was beautiful. And if you care to, please, now join in with saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not when in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Thank you. And we now turn our minds, our heart, our very intent to another facet of mediumship. And this is the mediumship of healing. And this is open and accessible to all people. It is not a specialist thing. We can enhance, we can imbue our healing, but everybody is capable of being that healer. And this is done very simply, just by sending out your love. For where thought goes, energy follows. And with that thought, with that encompassing love, know and understand that healing is being sent, received and delivered in whichever way is deemed necessary. So during this time of healing, we'd ask you to send out that love to wherever you are drawn. It is not for us to tell you where to. You follow your heart's path. So accompanied by gentle music, just relax into this wonderful energy, vibration that you have already built within this church today. And if there is anybody you know who is in particular need of mention at this time, simply raise your hand, and when I point to you, just call out their name. The intelligence of spirit knows and understands and acts in accord. So enjoy this time where you are the medium, you are the healer, you are the one to guide and send forth that love. Thank you. Divine and infinite Spirit, God of our own understanding, we thank you once more for this time and this reminder that we are healers one and all, that we can follow the path of peace. We can fill this world with our love, and we can fill this world with upliftment and healing and furtherance to the cause and the works in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
I'd now like to hand over to Mark. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So, since it's Valentine's weekend and it's wet and windy outside, I am going to talk about love, but not about love relationships. Not in the traditional sense, but in the spiritual sense. When we think about love as part of a spiritual aspect of ourselves, love is about the relationships we have spiritually with people not only around us, not only our relationship with the spirit world or the divine, but the relationship we have with our own spirit. And often when people sit for development, they sit to look outside to establish communication. They're looking to see if they can contact the other world, to connect with their guides, to connect with divine power. But so often, the inner spirit is forgotten, the inner being. And often our journeys may be similar, but we may end up coming into spiritualism and spiritual awareness through many different pathways. But often it's through loss or difficulty that draws us in. The times when the need for love, the need for care is at its highest point. When we are feeling maybe very unloved or very alone or abandoned or challenged in some way. And even on our spiritual journey, that process doesn't necessarily stop. Knowing that there is an afterlife and that our loved ones live on is not to take away the process of grief. It is to change the process in a way. We still will experience the physical loss, the anger, the upset, all of the different stages, the denial that we move through. But what we know is that it's not a final end. That the love, the bonds of love, the connection will continue. That we can still, through our understanding, have connection. We know there will be a reuniting. We know that there is still a presence, but it doesn't stop us having to work upon the love and the nurturing of self. Being able to connect with our guides and helpers does not take away the challenge of life. Often people think that mediums, once you're in touch with the other world, you're going to know everything because the spirit world are going to make it nice and easy for you and give you all the answers. Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be lovely?
Because the spirit world, as some of us know that sit and talk to our guides and often offer up our prayers and our thoughts when we're being challenged, sometimes the answers from the spirit world are blissfully enigmatic. For instance, have patience, it'll happen. When I was trying to move house that took nearly 3 years, and every time I went to church, a message would come and they're going, they're just saying you're going to have to be patient, young man. After about the 20th or 30th time I was told have patience, I was ready to kill the medium, let alone the spirit world. But the whole point is the spirit world were right, have patience. But the point is we still have to go through the learning. We still have to nurture what is in here. Somebody recently messaged me and said that a friend of theirs who was a medium had just lost his wife and had suddenly moved into this phase of doubting because he couldn't feel the presence of the other world around him. And he said, why does it seem like the spirit world abandon us when we are in our most difficult points in time? And I sent him a message back and I said, I don't think they ever do. I think the problem is that our mind, our emotions are so all over the place and so chaotic because we're in the middle of this crisis, this storm of life, that we are not in the best place to sense and feel. That we are not necessarily still enough to really hear that voice. But also I go back to one of the poems that my nan had of the footprints in the sand. There was only one set of footprints when it was most challenging. Why did you abandon me? And then Jesus turns around and says, but it's then that I carried you. So that's why it was only one set of footprints. And the spirit world in a presence in our life is often subtle. It's a thought, it's a feeling, it's an essence. And so when we're in the midst of emotional chaos, it's no wonder we don't sense and don't feel it so keenly. But that's where maybe our faith is tested. You know, spiritualism for me is my religion as well as my science, my belief, my understanding and my lifestyle. But I know there are people that turn around in the movement and say, oh, it should never have been a religion. But to me, religion is the bit that bridges the gap between knowing and when we have doubt. And that's what we need to realise, that at all times in our life, we are still going through this human experience. That there are going to be times when we are moved into a state of doubt, we're moved into a state of questioning, we're moved into a state of fear or challenge. And then it's, what do I truly believe? What do I truly know within the core of my being about these processes of life? Because that's why we've come to a physical life, to experience challenge. I'm afraid if you thought we came to life to have a jolly good time and get out all happy and joyful and learn nothing, we've come to the wrong place. Because here is a place of learning. To know through emotions and through the power of emotions what loss is like until it literally can break our heart. What joy can be like that lifts the whole of our spirit and our being. What fear does to us. What angst does. What support and love and caring and being of service does. These are all things that only through the doing are we learning. And what is that love that we have? When we often talk about the love from spirit, it's a love that has no attachment or strings to it, has no conditions. I'll love you if, because there are lots of those when we meet people here on life. I'd love you more if you were just like this. Well, then that means you don't love, because the love comes without condition. The love is given without condition. If we expect something in return, then we are creating a love with condition and ties and strings to it. Whether this is a relationship with the other world, because I know people that kind of do the emotional blackmail with the spirit world. I will dedicate myself fully to you if you will only just do this, this and this for me. And then further down the line, the terms and conditions of that love changes. Well, now I'll really believe if only you do X, Y and Z for me. So we put the human condition on that relationship. But the other world, their view of us is no matter what you do, no matter what is challenging you, no matter what you can or can't give to us, we are still here for you unconditionally. And that's a very different kind of love. It's a very constant power. Many times when people find their pathway spiritually and find what they love, there are often other challenges that get in the way of them being able to move with that love and that passion and that work. Their family life, their health, their work, maybe a relationship, may stand in the way of what you love and where you want to be. And then that's where the challenge comes. What do you truly want? What do you truly love? Because we have to come back into here, into the centre of our own being and say, if I walk away from this because this other person wants me to, or because the situation, is that the right thing for me? Is that the right thing for my spirit? But we should never think, I'm going to let the other world down. Because the other world sees what you're being challenged with and knows at some point you will return. You will come back. Because once you know this, once you know and have touched upon this love of the other world, you can never escape it. Because you know that it's present in your daily life, even if you're not able to work in it in the way that you want. But the importance always must become, what is it you want? What will bring you the most love or the most joy in this moment? Is this challenge, whether it is a challenge of health or work or relationship or family, what is that challenge teaching us on the journey of our spirituality? Because again, everything that comes your way and every person that comes your way is teaching you something. Even the people that maybe you really dislike, that cause you the most trouble. They're probably teaching you the biggest of the lessons, whereas the people that you love and are easy to get on with, they're teaching you about the easy of friendship and love and care and trust. But the ones that challenge everything to your core are the ones who are giving you the greatest teaching. Because what you have to do is then look at, what's this doing to me? How am I going to love and cherish myself in dealing with this situation? Have you ever been in a situation where you've gone, enough is enough and this has got to change now, no more? How long did it take us to get to that point of the final straw that finally broke the camel's back? It may have taken us years. And then when we get there, we go, why didn't I do this sooner? Because we were putting everyone else above our own self-love. We were letting the fear of what if get in the way of what could be and could be wonderful. Change is frightening, but it can also be marvellous. It can be difficult. It can be a struggle. It can be like trying to wheel a boulder uphill again and again and again just to get it to the top and it to roll back down again. But eventually you come over the other side. And this is where we shouldn't give up on ourselves. It's an act of self-love. I'm not going to give up on what I know is right for me. I'm not going to let myself down. And you have the other world behind you, supporting you in that. But it has to be what you want. It has to be what is right for you, what feels right in here. A spiritual teacher was once asked by a student, "Master, how do I know if I'm on the right pathway?" By the amount of joy and love in your heart. And what brings you that joy? Who brings you that joy? Both physically and in the spirit world. Is important to notice that. And you know, one of the things and I said I wasn't going to talk about relationships, but it's an important thing to realise when I work with students, and sometimes when I work with students with things like tarot, where we look at prediction, and mediumship, where we sometimes look at prediction, one of the things I always tell my students to be very careful of is ever telling anyone that someone is the one. The one, the soulmate, perfection. Because it places a very heavy burden in the mind of an individual. If you think about it, the next relationship that person approaches, this is the one. I've got to do everything to make this the perfect relationship. Remember what I said about life not being the perfect scenario? Relationships can be just as. Even if you found someone who is perfect, it's not always easy. But the one may be the one for this moment, this time, for so many years. It doesn't mean the one forever and ever. And the problem is that sometimes people will only think there is going to be one person that moves and touches their life. And they may be lucky to find that. But there are also more relationships that are there. Friendships and connections. And again, our perception of the other world. Many of you will remember a lovely medium called Joan Hall, or Joan Dunbar. And Joan had how many husbands in the end? 6 or 7. And I said to her, Joan, didn't you think you should stop at 6 so at least you'd have one day off in the spirit world? We're sharing them out. Because there isn't going to be a fight in the spirit world for who loves Joan most. It's not going to be who was the best husband or who was the best relationship. Because the love in the spirit world is not possessive. All of those gentlemen that had touched her life would be a wonderful part of her life. There will be people that have touched our lives, members of our family, friendships, friends, lovers, who will have touched our lives and will equally have a part of our life as we move through things in time. But we have to be careful how we view these things, because somebody could be somebody who's very important to you, but they come not to teach you the nice lesson, but to teach you the difficult one, to teach you how to love and respect self more, that what you truly should have as love and care in your life. And that's not always an easy lesson. So when we look at this love, we have to realise that we talk about loving, when we talk about healing, this unconditional love of healing. When I would teach healing to people, I had a student, a young guy, who I talked to him and I said, how are you getting on with your healing? And he said, oh yeah, I'm getting on really, really great with it, of course, for those people who deserve it. And I went, oh, I said, who died and made you God? And he said, what do you mean? And he said, what do you mean by only those who deserve it? Well, nice people. And I said, well, that's very nice of you to think that only nice people deserve healing. But do you not think that the people that you consider that are bad people actually may even need it even more than the nice ones? Because they're going through a state that makes them that way. You need to show love to them too. We need to be able to maybe not, when we say we show unconditional love for someone, it doesn't mean we become all saccharine hearts and flowers and everyone's lovely and no one's ever a problem. We put our rose-coloured specs on and believe that everyone is wonderful. It's actually about looking at the fact that they are a spirit in the body, searching. And that whatever has happened in their life has fashioned the outer expression of who they are. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to forgive, forget, to move through or beyond. But actually what we have to remember is that the more that we don't hold them in a loving space, the more of an issue they are to us. You know, I know people that have hung on to upset and aggression for years and years and years, and constantly remind themselves, I'm in this space because of what that person did to me 20 years ago. That person may not be in your life anymore. They might not even be in the physical world anymore. But you're living with their ghost, in essence. You're giving them rent-free space in your head every day. And you're hurting yourself because of what they did, not them any longer. And so part of that self-love is to also forgive ourselves for being in that situation, but also accepting, what did I learn there? And then saying in your mind to the spirit world, to the person at a distance, you don't have to phone them up or write them a letter. Thank you for showing me how I don't want to be in this world. Thank you for showing me how not to be in a relationship, or the kind of relationship I no longer wish to be in. Thank you for showing me your true self and being. You know, when someone shows you who they really are, believe it. Don't ignore it and go, oh, remember, we don't have to like everyone. We don't have to live in everyone's pocket. And when I say about loving people, there are people who I do not personally love personally. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could chuck them. But I've got to that point through learning. You're not my person. You're not my vibration. I don't resonate with you. I don't feel like you're my cup of tea or I'm yours. And that's okay. Because I'm not going to be in your sphere of existence. I'm not going to be in yours. I'm going to keep that distance. Love and respect to you on your journey, but it's not for me. And separate it away. I'm not going to bend or change to make someone like me, because what am I doing to me? I'm not being me. I'm not being loving to me. If I have to be someone else for someone else, either as a partner, a work colleague, a fellow medium, a healer, whatever, if I'm having to be something I'm not, then I'm not being loving and true to self. Does that make sense? And think in your life how that's affecting you by trying to be constantly somebody else or being all things to all people. You know, I work with people where sometimes there is serious amount of people pleasing that goes on. And people will do and say anything just to make another person happy. But I can guarantee that doesn't work in the long term, because the person who wants to make everybody else happy often isn't happy themselves, because you're trying to be what everyone else wants, not necessarily who you are. So it's okay to say no and feel guilt-free. I used to say to people, you know, when I first started working in spiritualist churches, I used to take 200 to 300 services a year, as well as working a full-time job. Every Sunday, some Sundays, I'd have 3 services in a day. Do one church in the morning, go and do a lunchtime one, and go and do an evening one. And I did that again and again and again and again. And suddenly I got to 30 and went, where did my 20s go? Where did my social life go? And I suddenly thought, do you know what? All I keep thinking is, because the spirit world want it, I've got to say yes to everything. No. What I started to learn was I could write no across a weekend in my diary. And when people would ring and say, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked. And it wasn't a lie. I booked it for me. I was honouring the relationship for me. To turn around and to start to create space for you, to make decisions for you, not for what everyone else wants, and not for the fear of what if, and not for the fear of what if someone else says this or that, but to actually say, this is what I want to do, this is what I need to do. So I'm going to love myself by saying no, and not feel guilty about it. To walk away when I know I've had enough, and not to be guilt-tripped into it. When everybody else wants something, but I know it's just not for me anymore, to be able to say, do you know what, this isn't working for me now. Now's a different pathway. Now's a different place for me to work. Now's a different place for me to find love and relationships and friendships. Now's a different place for me to sit in circle, because I've done what I needed to do here, and now somewhere else is waiting for me. Because you have to move on. We have to move through change. And this doesn't mean that when you go home this evening, say to your person, right, I'm walking out, I'm gone, bye. That might be something that you consider. But it might be that you take the steps to break through the fear, to do what you know you really want to do. To step out into the unknown spiritually. To make the call or the connection to someone you're frightened to speak to. Because that's why we're here. We're here not to communicate purely with the dearly departed, but with the living. All of these relationships, good, bad and indifferent, are teaching us about love. Even the most unloving relationship teaches us about love. Even on the spiritual journey, there will be people who are loving and supporting of you on your spiritual journey, and there will be people that are not, that are actively damaging to your journey. But thank those people, because they're teaching you how not to be, how not to teach, how not to work, to trust in your own instincts and your own connection to the spirit world. It's vast. Love permeates everything that we do. And if when we are in those moments of challenge and fear and indecisiveness, move to that place of love rather than the place of fear. What do I really want? Talk to the other world. Talk to people that you trust in your community. Doesn't mean they'll always have the answer, but they'll have an opinion. They might have an insight. Because a lot of the time you're drawn to people who've already walked the pathway you have. So they can show you. That's why we're here. To say, I've been through this. I know where you're coming from. That's why you've had that learning and that experience. Because not only are you all here to learn, but you're also all here to teach. To the experiences you've gone through, the one time when you think, no one else has had to suffer this but me, I can tell you there are a lot of people who've suffered it like you. But as you've come through it, or as they've come through it, so will you. So allow yourself to follow that pathway of love, to be a teacher of love. That whatever someone decides or thinks, that's their pathway. And respect and love the spirit that they are for doing that. Even if you don't understand why, know that it's meant. But most of all, always come back to the place of self-love. I love and appreciate the pathway I'm on. I love and appreciate the difficulties that I've come through, the decisions that I've made. And even, I love and appreciate all that I know that is going to be there in this future, that's going to have great highs, going to have lows, going to have challenges. But that's what I came for. I may not like some of the obstacles, but I've got to start enjoying the journey. I want to love the journey, because it's only a moment, a blink of an eye in eternity. So love where you're at in this moment. Love who you're with in this moment. And share that love in whatever way, through word, through deed, through healing, through service, through devotion. In whatever way you need to make this world a better world, a more loving world. Because we're in a time where love seems to be outwardly very lacking. So you need to be the antidote, the spiritual antibiotic for the doom and gloom. Bring love, bring care, to remove fear, to remove doubt, and to bring healing to wherever it's needed. That's what we know. How it changes our life and others, we may never know. But all we know is that it's the right thing to do. To come from a place of love, which is the spirit world and the divine. We are love embodied in a physical form. So let us know it and let us share it. And I'll leave those thoughts with you and say God bless.
Not long before the service, Mark proposed an idea about the format of the service, and that went out of the window.
That's all right, isn't it?
And that's wonderful. You know, spiritualism is about all things. We have become accustomed, we have just followed the pattern that is all about the message. I know that in that eloquent and beautiful presentation there from Mark and his team, every single one of you had a message. Every single one of you have taken something from that, including myself. You said something, and I'll talk about that after, because I was like, that's why. Yes, exactly. So, Mark, thank you so much. We now move on to our piece of music. We're going a bit old school on the hymn today. You know, sometimes we go modern. Today we've gone old school, and after that address I know why we've gone old school.
Ooh,
so
it's my favourite hymn.
Oh, well, there you go. Enjoy this hymn. During this time, Paul will take the collection for the further work of this your church. Thank you. I love it when a plan comes together. I sat there yesterday and I'm going, nope, nope, nope. Oh, that's too old. Nope. Oh, I quite like that one. Nope. Oh, yeah, let's have that one. So we now move into that part of the service where it's all fine and well for us to say there is no death, isn't it? But we, as spiritualists and within the religion, the philosophy of spiritualism, we have this unique ability where we can actually support our claims with evidence. Of course, at the end of the day, it is up to you. If you accept it, if you don't, that's fine. But as Mark said, Spirit will keep giving. Spirit will keep giving just through love, in love and for love. So, during this part of the service, we require your voice to make that connection. And never forget, your message may be the evidence for somebody else in the church today. So sitting there going, isn't an option. Sorry. We require a nice response. So it's a
Yes.
no.
Maybe.
How do you know that and you've never been here? I'm intrigued. Okay. Oh, do they? Oh, bless. Oh, thank you. We did it first.
The joy of spiritualism.
I know. Yeah. Love and light, we did it first. No. Shut up, Lawrence.
Yes,
Mark,
lovely.
Sir,
Thank
over to
you.
you.
Lovely. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know how all this goes, as Lawrence has described it to you. There's a lot of people that I know in the congregation, so you're just going to have to forgive where I'm moved to or I'm moved to. I want to come and talk to Jan, darling. I've got dad and grandmother, so I think it's dad and dad's mum, because they seem to come in from that one side. And I feel that if I talk about, first of all, your grandmother, please, that when I was talking about faith and about faith that holds you through the very difficult times, I'm kind of talking from Nan's hymn book there, because I feel that there is a very strong line of faith that runs with her. I'm not saying necessarily she's at church every Sunday, but I know that she holds to those principles and that way of living and understanding life. Would that make sense to you, darling?
If it's my dad's mum,
Yeah.
I never met her.
Okay. Would you know that of her, though?
Yes, I would think so.
You would think so. Okay, bear with me. Because I know that with Dad had this strong, quiet belief of moving through things, of pushing through, of perseverance. And that even when something is testing you, you still have to believe you'll come out the other side of it. And that was very much what she instilled in him, you see. And I know that there is this feeling that comes in there from Dad and from grandmother of almost putting this like cotton wool around you and saying that no matter how much anything buffets you, you know that it can't really get to you, but although it's a rough ride, okay? And you see your dad's health as well. Your dad's health had a rough ride. And again, he very much felt, I've just got to keep going and get through. He's very stalwart, your dad, very stoic. He wouldn't let anything take him down easily. If he was told to rest, he'd be still getting back up and you'd almost be forcing him to go back and rest. Because I would say awkward monkey. There's another word I'd use other than monkey, but it's a Sunday and I'm on a church platform. But I know your dad, he also used to offset with humour, please. That he would make a joke of something to deflect from the fact that he was struggling. And therefore he often hid what was wrong. And he would hide when he's in pain. It would be your dad, it would literally have to be forced down his throat to take any medication. Okay. I'm talking about, when you not medication you've been given by a doctor, but if someone said, I've got a headache, and he wouldn't, he'd just carry on. Yeah. Pain wouldn't faze him, or he didn't show that pain fazed him. But I know that he's bringing that up, and then you've said more but he's bringing up things that he struggled to do because he wouldn't let it win, but he's talking about the need to help. So when you need to, you have to let things help and support you. Doesn't mean forever. Okay, doesn't mean forever, because I've got another lady here who literally, if I said she had a pharmacy at home, she had a pill for everything, and in your mind you don't want to end up like that, But he said, look, here's the even keel balance between both. Okay? Sometimes you need things, but not forever. That was like my grandmother. When she died, we could have stocked a pharmacy with the amount of stuff she had, and most of it she didn't need. But I know there is that feeling here as well. Okay? But I know as well as this has been brought in, I don't know whether this is a memory with Mum or whether this is a memory that's been brought in by Nan, but I'm seeing like cross-stitch bookmarks. Do you remember those? Ah, you used to do them. Okay, I couldn't work out who did them because I can see it and they're beautiful. And it's almost like I want to say, or the feeling that I've got here for you, Jan, is that I want to do things to take my mind off what's going on outside of things. And I'm reminded of doing those things where you have to concentrate and take the focus in there. And I want to do that. I want to remind you, just take your mind away from it rather than letting it consume it. You understand that? I know I said in the address about predicting things and saying things, but I know from your dad would not tell you something unless he knew it to be true. You understand that? Your dad didn't give a false promise. If he didn't think he could do something, he wouldn't promise it. And he's saying, we'll sort this out and there will be great change. It may feel uncomfortable to go through it, and it may feel like, oh God, what next? But he said, I'm with you in every step of the way with this now. I'm with you every step of the way. Did you used to have Pelham puppets? You know, the old wooden puppets? Bear with me 1 second. Your dad wasn't connected to the Navy in some way, was he? I might have moved from you because I'm seeing a Pelham puppet when they used to do them as like the seafaring characters, like the Navy Jack and things like that. Let me take that back a minute, okay? Just in case I've moved quickly. But know that, so Dad, Mum, Nan that you didn't met. You see, Nan that you didn't met kind of has always been around. And you know that. Even when you were younger, you knew she was around. You had the awareness of her being around. So she said, you do know me. Yeah, because it's that same sense of strength of faith. Because she's just, as I was saying, I've got to go. And she said, no, you've got to tell her she knows me. She's got to, because she's so, we're like. And that, again, that faith. And again, that faith has been tested, Jan. But know that, like I said in the address, you can't leave it. You'll always come back to it. Life just gets in the way. Okay? Life just gets in the way. But they're always there for you. Okay? And let me just check. I think I have moved. One of these ladies didn't have a charm bracelet. Oh, okay. Because I've just been shown a charm bracelet and I didn't know whether I'd moved or not with it. So let me leave their love with you. And again, all this, do you know, my nan was one for having like the pixie and the horseshoe and everything in the purse as like, you know, whatever helps you to believe that all will be well. Okay, whatever helps you, because nothing is, you know, all things are possible. It's not impossible, just may take a bit of help. Be helped. Don't be a one-woman show doing it all and not accepting help. If someone offers, take the help. Okay? So let me leave that with you. You don't, follow against your dad's normal advice when he'd have said, I don't need help, I can do it alone. Take it the other way. I keep seeing this Pelham puppet kind of thing, or otherwise it's a ventriloquist dummy, because it's like a sailor's. Did someone here have either or knew someone who had like a Jolly Jack Tar kind of ventriloquist act or ventriloquist dummy, like a puppet dummy? Very, very odd. It's a very odd piece of information. But did you? But of like a Jolly Jack Tar, like a sea guy. No, mine was a soldier. Okay, bear with me 1 second. I don't think it's that. And no one here has someone who was a ventriloquist or did even if it was a very bad one, it was a good one for radio. Because I keep seeing that. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Oh no, hang on a second. I've understood what it is. Your dad used to listen to the radio and would listen to things like, what was the name of the puppeteer guy who was on radio? Archie. And your dad would have listened to comedy stuff like that. But I'm just being made aware, oh God, I don't know how to put that without it sounding rude. Someone else is being the mouthpiece for someone else. Do you understand that? Someone else is the puppeteer, not who you're talking to. Someone else behind it has been pulling the strings. Do you understand that? It's all right. When I was going back, your dad was bringing in that humour, but in a serious message. Okay, thank you. So I can take that one away. Thank you. It was when I said it was on radio. That's where it twigged. Okay, got a gentleman with me here. And he's very quiet. That's useful because I need someone talkative and chatty. Oh, you are a funny one, aren't you? You're quiet. You're so quiet. Come on, talk to me. Where are you going? So I've got a gentleman here. He's very, very quiet. It's almost as if I don't know whether I'd even hear this man talk much in life. I think he's so quiet, he's so much in the background. And I don't mean that he's not present, that he's not part of the household, but he is so quiet, he is so, he speaks so rarely. And I kind of feel, I feel for him. It reminds me of my own grandfather, because it's a house full of ladies that are all talking and he's just in the background. And although he has things to say, he kind of keeps quiet for the quieter life. Andy, would you understand that? Because I feel with this man, it's as if he's in the background. I trust him for advice, but I don't think he gets in the middle of the family arguments. When that starts, he withdraws, and he steps back, and it's almost like he didn't have the energy to waste in all of this nonsense. I'm just going to step back. I'm going to let them sort it out. I'm going to let them find their own way to it. And there's this, because he didn't like getting angry. He didn't like to get angry. He didn't like to lose temper, because he felt that if he lost temper, he'd then say or do something he would regret. So therefore, he became this quieter man, this more isolated man. And I feel that at a point here, he isolates himself from everyone else. And I feel sorry I did that, but I needed to for my own sanity. Would that make sense? Because I feel here that this gentleman, although it was maybe never written down anywhere, diagnosed, I felt that he had a lot that had gone on mentally, and that we would now think about anxiety and PTSD and things like that from going back into when he's younger. But was never recognised as such at the time. But this is what made him this. I've just got to keep away from the trauma of other people and other situations. And I know that as he brings this forth, that he's sorry that he had to withdraw, because it feels like I haven't got the closeness with you then, okay? Which I feel regretful for. I wish I could have been more present. Okay, I wish I could have been more present. Not that, not that you've turned out half bad, which is all right, isn't it? And it's nice. But it's more the fact that he wished he could have been there when you struggled. Okay, and again in similar situations where the family fight. And he said, and I wish I'd been there to give you more counsel, to give you a bit more understanding, to make you feel like you weren't facing it alone. Because I know you've got other members of the family, but it's like he would be more, forgive me for the rest of the family, more sensible. Okay? Whereas everyone else is more knee-jerk. They all close ranks like that without thinking whether anyone's in the wrong or in the right. Okay? And he sees that. So I know also he's talking about closing ranks and service being an important part of his early life as well. And I think that's where we're talking about where some of the trauma and the stress came from in that point in his life. But I know that as he brings this, he wants to bring this love and affection for you. Okay? And I find it hard to say that, not because he doesn't, but because he found it very hard to express love in an affectionate way. Okay, like when people suddenly start to talk about love who are not used to talking about love, they get emotional because they don't know how to handle that emotion, and he didn't. So constancy was his love. Okay, constancy was his love. But I know that there is just this sense of being very present, because he's a strong will. And he brings that strength of mind there. I know obviously what you've gone through, but he brings that strength of mind and purpose. Did he have a signet ring, please?
He did, yeah.
Okay, because he's just drawing me to the fact of a signet ring being there as well. And I don't, you don't have this?
I personally don't know, but I know.
But you know where it is, okay? Because he's just talking about it, and I know that I don't feel I've gone with it.
That's correct.
Okay, because sometimes people go with their jewellery, don't they? Very Egyptian. Leave it to everyone else. But I know that he's talking about this. And I know that originally signets used to have cartouches on, didn't they, for families, like for seals and things. Would you know, have you gone and retraced family back to where there are coats of arms?
No,
Has not a member of the family done this?
not that I know of.
Oh. Because I keep seeing like a cartouche of a ring. So either, I'm going to give you two options that you're going to have to find out about now. Either there is some historical family stuff to do, or when you've sat in meditation, you have seen someone putting a seal on things that you've seen written from the spirit world. It's one of the two. So have you seen that happen in your meditations?
No.
No. So can you start doing some family research and going back? Because I feel there's something that takes us also abroad.
Right, so I have had my DNA checked.
Ah, and that takes you abroad.
It does.
There you go. So, see, no longer family research, it's now DNA. God knows what I'd come up with. Heinz 57, probably. So, but there's more to be done there, because I keep seeing these, and I keep seeing things like fleur de lis, which would take me France and places like that. But I want you to have a look, because I feel there's more to know, and there's more to find out there. Okay. Your mum's mum, Nan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to describe her now. She reminds me very much like my Nan. She's fiercely protective, but very, very loving, but could sometimes really cause a stir.
Yeah.
Okay. And mum can be like that at times.
Yeah.
And I feel that mum's being more the stir than the nice bit at the moment. Okay, so Nan's coming in and saying, well, I'll try and sort her out from this side, you try and sort her out from that side, and somehow we'll get there. But it's about being stubborn, and she's not listening, she's not hearing, and she's not taking the advice. Do you understand that? Nan's saying, come on, we need to sort her out, and she needs to buckle under. Okay, and so they're looking after her from that side. Okay, so can I leave that with you? And obviously, you have their love and their support for what's going on with you. But I'll say, I'll leave that with you. Say God bless. Got time for a quick one? Finish.
Do you want to do a quick one?
No, because it won't be a quick one if I say it'll be a quick one.
That's right.
Okay, go on. Let's have a third. You'll probably live to regret that.
I won't. Coming out your lips.
That's true. Yeah. I may have stayed with you. No, I've not stayed with you. I'm hearing Gracie Fields singing Sally. Nikki, mum's in spirit, yeah? And would you understand mum loving that kind of music, Sally, Sally? And whenever stuff like that had come on, she'd be warbling away in the kitchen. Yeah, because I can hear that song being sung, and I know it's kind of a northern classic because that's where I'm from. But I know that as she's bringing this in, your mum was of an era, and I know that sounds a daft thing to say because everyone's mother will be from an era, but I feel that very much that mum, as life moved on, mum didn't want to move into more modern times. She preferred life when it was simpler, easier, and everyone trusted each other and everyone could get on.
Both parents.
Yeah, okay. But it's mum mum that's bringing this, because she's talking about the times around you and wishing it was back then when it was so easy and so much simpler and people just did what they were told. And, you know, if you were matriarch of the household, woe betide you if you went against what mum said. Okay? And I kind of feel that I've had those thoughts of why aren't they listening to me? And I want to bash a couple of heads together and tell them right off. Okay? Because as mum's come out, it's not advocating violence in the household, but it's but it's literally it's so frustrating when everybody's just not seeing how much easier it could be, and they could make it so much easier for themselves if they just did what they needed to do. And you see, and mum, see, it's interesting. Dad would go so far and then cut off and disconnect. Mum would keep trying to rectify, and often Dad would tell your mum just to stop, and your mum wouldn't, because mum wouldn't give up. Mum wouldn't give up without a fight. Dad would go so far and say, do you know what? One too many times now, that's it. But mum would go, no, we've got to keep trying. But then your dad would disconnect from dealing with. If you want to, you deal with it, but don't moan at me. Okay? So, but I feel as if they're coming in, they're bringing this energy in because they want to support you in what you're doing. Because it feels kind of a bit like I'm doing this on my own. Okay? And I just want you to know that mum and dad are with you and behind you, but you've got both of the sides. Mum's going, keep trying. Dad's going, well, I'd have stopped by now if I were you. And so you've got that kind of that push and pull that's going on. But, okay, your dad is saying, although I might stop, it doesn't mean I close the door. But they've got to walk through the door, not me walk through theirs. Okay, and so I know that there is, like we said earlier, there's a lesson in the learning of when is enough, and there is this need to focus back upon self, your own health, your own well-being, rather than running around like a headless chicken after everyone else. Okay, you've done more than enough. You've gone over the odds, and literally you've given you kind of your shirt off your back. Can't keep doing that forever. Okay? Can't keep doing that forever. And, you know, your mum and dad didn't have a lot. They really didn't have a lot. But they gave where they could. They supported where they could. They looked after where they could. And I know that I've got looking after elderly members of the family as well, and really taking care of everything there. But you need to be looked after a bit. Okay? You need to be looked after a bit. Not in the way that, you know, final steps or anything like that. We're not saying, but just the care and attention. Okay? And if other people aren't going to do it, got to do it for number one. Okay? And I'm seeing a very small little purse that your mum used to have, like a little teeny tiny purse. And you know I said about my nan having charms and things in? Bringing that in with mum as well.
My daughter has it.
Lovely. Because I just feel that's that bit of luck of where things need to be. Okay? And would you understand where there's like a little terrier dog or a little Heinz variety? Because you know when I talked about Heinz varieties in the DNA,
absolutely.
he's coming in as well, and he's there, like little wiry bouncy, just full of fun. And again, that's unconditional love. Well, it's unconditional on the point that you're the one that holds the tin opener. So that's where that love comes from. If cats were able to open tins, they'd be gone. We'd be out. The day will come. But I know that as they're bringing this, they're just talking about the lovely man. Just take life back to being simple. Simple needs, simple methods, simple ways. It's got far too complicated. It's like a ball of string. This is like your mum's got, I don't know whether it's your mum's or whether it's your grandmother's, but I've got a knitting bag. But she's showing me that in her knitting bag everything would be pristine, but she's opening up this knitting bag and it's absolutely strung up everywhere. Sometimes you have to acknowledge, I'm going to just have to start again because it'll take too long to unravel. And that's metaphorical and physical.
Yeah, my daughter, well, my grandchildren have that one. And I've learnt to like,
No, start again. You're never gonna, but I know that it's on two levels. Okay, it's on two levels. Sometimes you just have to start again. New ball of wool, fresh start. Okay, so let me leave there, love. And I've also got someone wore a horseshoe, please, on a chain.
yeah.
Okay, And also I'm being told Bert as well. Bert. Okay? So let me leave their love with you and say God bless. Look after self first and foremost. Okay? Your time. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of both myself and those in the spirit world, I'd like to thank you for your love that makes those connections possible. And I say God bless and good morning.
Thank you, Mark. For your notices for the week, tomorrow evening we have our healing evening. These are held fortnightly here in the church. If you wish to receive healing, please be here for 7:15. And church healers, usual format, if you're here ready to sit in circle at 6:45. Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock we have a gong bath, that's being taken by Scania Price. On Wednesday we have week 3 of our psychic course, and on Thursday week 3 of our beginners mediumship course. Next Sunday we welcome Leanne Twine for her first visit. Taking our service. Monday the 23rd, so a week tomorrow, we have an evening of mediumship, and that's with Bill, Rich and myself, and that's at 7 o'clock, and there is a £10 door fee for that. There's a few events coming up, especially in March and April. We have a visit from, I want to say, a gang of mediums from America.
Got to be careful how you do that.
They feel like a gang. A visit by American mediums organised by the lovely Elaine Bevin. Good Friday, we've got cream tea and Prosecco with mediumship. How wonderful is that? What a wonderful way to spend Good Friday.
The more you drink, the better the message gets.
No, that's from the medium's point of view. And another thing she hated you. That doesn't happen, by the way.
Oh, no.
Anyway, that's Good Friday at 1 o'clock, and Easter Saturday we have an evening of mysticism. Being American, they work in very different ways, and they do what they call billet readings and fire readings. I'm looking forward to that one.
Health and safety.
So, yes. That's on Easter Saturday evening. Easter Sunday, they'll be taking our service, and that'll be a Lyceum service with a piece of history about spiritualism within there. And on Easter Monday, we've got a day of readings available. 2 will be doing mediumship and psychic readings. One is doing, he does this photographic work where he blends the photos of you or your loved ones together with inspired art. It sounds absolutely fascinating. So lots of things coming up. Oh, Saturday the 21st of March. Sees the first week of our legacy course. Is it the 21st or the 16th? It is the 21st, thank you. Legacy course is designed, it is not to showcase your mediumship or your psychism, because it's about you. And there will be people on this course who are coming from outside of spiritualism. It's a pure self-development course. You know, in this day and age, you go online, and if you do this, you'll be a better person. If you do that, you'll be a better person. If you follow me, you'll be a better person. If you send me $600, you'll be a wonderful person. So we're moving away from that. It's pure self-development. So we've got 2 sessions are with Stephen Mager, and he'll be researching and going back into the history of philosophy, where it's come from, its underpinning knowledge. Then we have 2 sessions with David Powell on self-healing, that approach. And then there's 2 sessions with Lindsay Percival, who is a psychoanalyst as well. And that'll be working on yourself and some parts of ourself that we don't want to admit. Not me, I'm perfect. But get away. It's a really interesting course. It is a course. You can't dip, pick and choose, all right? Because the course will build through the sessions. There's work in between the sessions, and of course there's that blending and trust, which is paramount. So have a look at the details for that. Lawrence, shut up. Mark. If I could invite you for the closing blessing. Thank you.
So let us just once more close our eyes and open our hearts and minds in prayer. Gracious and divine Spirit, we thank you for this beautiful time that we've shared together. Not only the sharing of messages of love and support from the other world, but also that message of self-love and the healing power that has been in this place. And allow each and every one of us here, both here in person and here online, to take the love and the inspiration out into the world. Let it be the antidote for all that we see. Allow us to bring hope, to bring love, to bring healing to all those that we meet in whatever way we may be able to impart it, but knowing that this world is a better and brighter place because we as an individual are in it. And so always we thank those who have been with us from the spirit world and that divine love and power that has flown through every moment, action and word. And we thank you for all that has been, for all that is, and for all that is yet to come, with joy, faith, and love in our hearts. Amen.
Amen. Mark, thank you. Beautiful, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank you, too, for those people joining us online, whether live today or on catch-up later. In the meantime, is it raining?
Might have stopped.
Might have stopped. Enjoy. Whatever you do, and do it with that love.
Please.
Yep. White with chicken.
What chicken, yeah? With a baguette on the side. Oh, how are you, my boy?
Listening to you is like 30 years just gone again.
Oh, I know.
It was about 30 years ago with you. Shirley Church, Eastern Church. And one time you said